Today I wanted to do a video on how to start a D&D campaign, mostly because I've been DMing for 10 years now, and it took me a long time to kind of figure out the optimal way to do it. And I thought I would share kind of my structure. So this is kind of system agnostic mostly, but I think it's geared well to D&D. So, um, so when I start a campaign, I start off with getting the group together for session 0, and we kind of talk about the group premise, which is essentially why are all these characters together and how, like, yeah, why are they together and how do they all connect to each other? Um, and I always do this before even making characters, mainly because when you start with a strong core, I believe it allows everyone to kind of work towards the same goal, even if there's inter-party conflict between the characters, which I like in my games. So the group premise would be like in my last campaign, basically we had a brainstorming session where everyone was just tossing out ideas, and then we voted on our favorites, and our favorites were spies in a foreign fantasy kingdom. So essentially, we're from a different culture. We're coming into this area to try and destabilize the region, which the region that they were going to was like your fantasy land kind of area. Obviously, like humans only, things like that, but that's not really relevant. But the second one that was voted was religious followers. So what we did was we took spies, and their cover was religious followers. And this had a huge impact on kind of where the plot ended up going. Obviously, I don't prep my plots really. Like I had a mystery that went all the way, but I planned session to session because I feel like it offers more flexibility and rewards more player choice. So yeah, I just had my mysteries, but overall the plot was whatever the characters made of it. So then, based on that premise, we had our character backgrounds, which is essentially what they did before the adventure. So, um, basically, it's just usually a line like, I was a scout for the military, or I was actually just a spy. And it's fine to just have a character that is kind of the exact parameters of the group premise, because it just means that they're very focused on what the goals of the campaign are. And I usually tie the group premise and the characters into the XP system, mainly because it's a way to help keep, I guess, the game on track. So everyone's kind of working towards the same goal. After the characters, obviously in D&D you would pick your class, and that would kind of tell you what you're good at within the party. And after that, we do relationships within the party. And basically what I do is I make everyone make a relationship with every other character. And every character has to have more positive relationships coming to them than negative, or equal, depending on what your group size is. So if you have 4 players, then you have 2 positive, 2 negative. And you can easily just do this by being like, you make 2 positive with the people to your right, and then 2 negative with Oh, actually, yeah. So, I meant 5 people, sorry, and then 2 with the to your left, right, and that creates a very cohesive party because everyone is friends with some of the people in the group, and like there's a lot of twisting webs at that point. Because everyone is friends with people who the other people don't like. And I found that it definitely increases role play right off the start when people know the established relationships within the group and how they feel about other people. As for kind of the overall structure of how I kind of do a campaign, essentially, I take a region. The old adage of start in a small town, I think, is really the best way to do it, mainly because it keeps your prep in scope. Usually the first session is very tied to the group premise in my campaigns, mainly because I don't know where the players are going to go. And then I just let them kind of go wild. So in my last campaign, I started them off in a little mining town, and I had a little dungeon. And the dungeon tied to not only the group premise, which is spies, because this was like a key town in the lord of the area. It was named after him, called Peyton's Field. And also it tied into my mystery, which was the religious angle. So I had a mystery where there was secretly a evil god kind of like taking the followers of a fake good god and having all the worship kind of come to him to kind of restore his power after he was killed by an ancient figure who is the good god, but there is technically no good god. So that's kind of like my mystery throughout the entire campaign. And I'll talk about mystery some other time. And I basically come up with my bad guys. So I had the red one, which is the evil god behind the scenes, and I had Peyton Marlowe, who unfortunately was called Peyton Manning a few times, and that essentially was my prep for like the overall structure. I kind of made some characters in the town, and I did like a 5-room dungeon. Usually I like to do that at the start of my campaigns because it's a good starter, really. It's just like, oh, there's this action, there's like a little story at the start, and it tends to work out really well. So that's the overall structure. I'm probably going to do another video on like the nitty gritty because I'm about to start a new campaign. So I'll be able to do it kind of more in depth. So I'll be like, okay, this is what I prep for session 0. This is what I prep for session 1. This is what I prep for session 2. And kind of go from there. And I think that might be pretty useful. So thanks for watching, and I'll probably release something else pretty soon.